Welcome back, you beautiful overprivileged people, to Typical Millennial. Oh man, it's so good to be back. I'm sorry that I couldn't make videos this past week because my job and school is starting to mess it up. But I'm back now. I'm back to make new videos every week. If I do have any sort of problems, I'll let you know this time. I'm sorry that I didn't do that. So let's get right into the video. But today, as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about poverty and the many misconceptions about it. So here I'm going to disprove 5 myths about poverty. As you can tell, it's a very big topic indeed with the United States or just countries in general. There's poverty all over the world. There will be poverty always. But there's a lot of misconceptions behind it within the United States especially. And don't be offended if this video applies to you, because I think you can learn from it as an experience. So let's get right into it. The first one we're going to be talking about is...
Get a job, you.
Yep, you guessed it.
Let's fuck this society. You fucking...
Why society so mean? No, I'm just kidding. What the fuck? Do people actually think this? Do they? It's sure as hell wrong. 2004 CBPP study stated that 60% of the families that were on food stamps had one adult working, and 80% of the families that were working full-time still had not got out of poverty within that instance. So it disproves the notion that even though you may work harder, it doesn't necessarily get into the result of getting out of poverty, as many people would suggest. Yeah, take that, conservatives. Fuck off. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Don't get offended. Just like you tell liberals not to get offended. All right, on to the next one. Now, speaking of liberals, this next myth is going to be from them, and that is only minorities experience poverty. Back in 2010 and 2011, the U.S. Census Bureau conducted a survey and found that 67% of people who are in poverty are white, and the rest are the minorities. So to say only minorities get affected by this worldwide epidemic called poverty is very misleading, especially since I'm a minority and I have experienced poverty myself. To exclude people, the majority of the population, which are white people, making 77.7% of the U.S. population, is absurd. So that debunks that myth. On to the next one. Number 3, that poverty only applies to financial needs or financial services or necessities in that regard. Rudy Payne best describes poverty as a lack of resources in their book, A Framework to Understanding Poverty. And within that book, it refers to many different sorts of systemic poverty, such as behavioral poverty, emotional poverty, mental poverty, support system poverty, and it simply refers to the lack of something. Therefore, if someone is lacking mental poverty, it refers to that they have lack of self-control, which could possibly mean poverty. That could equate to poverty. Usually the financial setting is what everybody refers to, but it has much more of a broader definition if you were to implement it in general. Number 4, most people in poverty are on drugs. That's not fucking true either, motherfucker. Where the fuck do you get your fucking information from? Oh shit. Now on to the truth. According to the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, they have found no significant difference between people who are receiving welfare and people who are not receiving welfare. So to state that this is the case, you better be fucking idiotic and not have done your research. But not just me, man. I'm not trying to offend anybody. No, I am. Fuck you. But last but not least, our 5th and final one. Drumroll, please. Poverty is caused by exploitation and systematic oppression of people. This is a rather half-truth, where there are some parts which is true, but there's much more to it, where much of poverty is caused by drug addiction, choices, and many other factors that may play into it. Not just those two things, but they also play a part into why people are in poverty. There's generational poverty and there is temporal poverty, where people are in poverty for one generation and that's it. While generational poverty goes on for decades at a time, for generations, as the name would imply. So to state that Poverty is caused by the system, and people who are in poverty will always stay in poverty. It's not simply not true. But much of it could also be attributed to the system of where they grew up in, or what area was accumulated, and how they put those people at a disadvantage than the people of a wealthier status. So these are my 5 facts of poverty. Leave a comment below and what you think. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to. And please, please, please fucking subscribe. Alright guys, have a nice day.